So thank you, Barry, for the introduction. And we were discussing before for me being first or being the last one who will present. And I'm happy to be the last one because I might provide some hope. So that's something. As Barry said, I'm coming from CRS. For now almost 7 years, I've been working with the peace building field. And actually, I don't think Barry also doesn't know that, but somehow I will share also my personal experience. I suffered the great losses within this war in my family as well. My father died during the war, and a lot of my family members as well. I was a refugee, and then I came back to Sarajevo during the war. I was a child who was raised during the siege, so I had a lot of some kind of personal trauma, personal experience. My getaway was this, to do peace building. So that was my decision. I completely accidentally fell up within this thing, but yet now I am considering myself to be very authentic within my work. So the thing I will present today are the actually overviews of the two projects. I will mention some data and some results, but they are mainly restricted by different kind of tools we were using. And they are more my observations, and therefore they could be biased. But yet I found it very interesting, and as I remember, Stephen, they're very similar with what you were telling us this morning. So at 2009, CRS announced CPT project, full name is Choosing Peace Together project, and we actually recognized that the ethnic narrative and that negative narrative that is present within all B&H is mainly constructed by members of war victims. And we detected them as really influential individuals who are telling their stories, but not in a constructive way. So we invited them to a series of seminars, actually workshop, on communication, how to communicate better, nonviolent communication by Marshall Rosenberg, also trauma healing processes, and also forgiveness. At the first 200 people applied, but yet 51 finished the process. So I considered this a very good number because people came to us from different motives. Some of them were just personal, I will get something, this is some international organization coming and they will help me with house or something else. But yet few of individuals the peace building processes and actually the need for trauma healing. Those individuals were one who stayed and who really benefit the process. So within that process, I've noticed that there is 4, maybe more, for now it's 4, different phases. The first one is that individuals who come in any kind of trauma healing process should be motivated at first to be there, to find a reason why they are there. And then, for professionals, it's important to know that they have to open the safe space where the people can tell their stories, their narratives. And when they're telling their narratives, then they're trying to rethink about their narratives and narratives of the others. And here, some very specific process happened, and that is that they're also constructing different identity of those identities they came within to the workshops. And that is a group identity of victims regardless of their ethnic backgrounds. And that is the point when they can realize that there is a difference between a victim and people who did all the harm they felt and their religious and ethnic backgrounds. Because when they're telling their stories, they're completely the same. If they don't pronounce the name or a place where they're coming from, it could be the same person, no matter less who he or she is. And that common empathy that happened provided a space for action. So that is, I found it, sensation, like my beliefs, what I'm believing with, and how can I receive the new new thing that is coming to me, and what is my need? Do I have to be a victim or not? Can I be an activist? Feelings, I'm angry, and I also can feel really, I can empathize myself with someone else, can provide the positive action. 21 of all these 200, but still we are happy to have even that 21 ex-war victims decided to publicly speak about their experience. And public speaking events, actually storytelling they're doing, is consisted in a way that there are always 3 of them, like Serb, Croat, and Bosniak. And they're telling their stories in a way that they are referring to a past before the war, who they were during the war, what happened to them during the war, with all the pain they were suffering during the war as war camp prisoners, or someone who lost a mother or father or a child. And yet, what was their dilemma? What were their coping styles after the war, and how they decided to transform their energy into something positive? How they decide to transform a narrative that wasn't so positive into a positive narrative. And they call themselves today peace builders. They've started a number of initiatives.
Your presentation is, if you want to put it up,
You can see.
You're doing well.
So, they organized, for example, I don't know how you're familiar with, but then I'm assuming that you are, 2 members of ex-war camp prisoners in Vareš, where Croat and Muslim conflict was. They organized together a commemoration for 21st of September, the Peace Building Day. So that was really the step forward for them, to do it jointly and to do it like we commemorate peace, not a suffering. So it's not always so perfect. You always have a political influence that sometimes can draw them back to where they were, but yet some of them are very consistent in idea to continue to do this work. So, and that was what Barry and I were writing in this article. How to do like the cognitive change and how to motivate the behavioral change. It's not enough just to say, oh, something happened to me to heal, and something happened to me to feel better, but yet I have a responsibility as a citizen of this country to do something more about this, because the situation is not going anywhere. So, in the past, I don't know, or is it 6 or 7, because we started the CPT project in 2009, and now it's 2016, so forgive me if I'm saying 6 or 7 years. We organized 161 public speaking events. Almost 5,000 people attended these kind of events. They're mainly youth, but they're also random citizens. We are just inviting randomly. I think we were in more than 40 local communities. So that's also a really interesting number. And there is some data, I won't read it, but most of the people who attended those events said that the storytelling in this way is very important to reconciliation process. Just 5%, so it's data we've gathered to our evaluation form, so it might be like good or less good, but yet it's some kind of data. Just 5% said, oh, this is I will say, bullshit. It's nothing, we don't need this. And then I was thinking about what is happening to the public. I know that the victims, they went through numbers of programs with us. Firstly, we provide the trauma healing program, and then we provide in them also institutional support, capacity building for their organization, other types of training, self-group supports. So they've been with us for years. I can understand their change, but how can we affect the people who are sitting there as you're sitting now? So I was thinking, and at first I realized they're coming there with their own thoughts. They're coming there with everything you've described this morning. Their beliefs, their narratives, the historical facts they learned from schools. And who are those people who are like telling some stories to me? So they have to be motivated again they have to find the space to open that small window to another information, to another constructive narrative, because the narratives the storytellers are saying it's really constructive. And just if you are motivated to receive another information, you have ability to process. So, and the ability to process, sometimes there is a silence about the conflict here and about different narratives. So that's really important to say. After they have ability to process, they are validating the nature of the speakers and their stories. So is this familiar what I know, or is it not? And just as is always saying about empathy, when people are talking to others, we develop or empathy or not. The empathy thing is also very important. If people can feel the stories and the speakers as they understand and they believe what they're saying about, the change is likely to happen than if they don't believe them and if they don't feel empathy or they don't like them just because they don't like them. So I will, because I'm short on time, I will just try to. The thing here is that what I've realized, the public speaking events, actually the storytelling is a very powerful tool, but without having a multidisciplinary approach, without providing a safe space from a community, it's diminished its effects. So the climb within community, within the leaders and media and religious leaders, political, religious, or whatever, they should be supportive to this transformative process. It's impossible to do the progress because there is always a threat that they will come back again where they've been before. And another thing I've noticed, because the conflict and actually the trauma is not driven by itself. It's driven from a society. And people who are telling their stories and the storytelling can provide an energy to broader public, but also they need to pull that energy back so they can continue doing this process. So I think, am I?
All right. Well,